Hey guys, I'm here in my jammies. It's like midnight, but I realized that I've not updated this since I've told about Connor being sick, and so I figure it's high time to update, and I can feel myself about to yawn. I'm going to try not to, but I'm really tired, guys. Okay, so the last I updated you was we had went to our follow-up, and I didn't really dive too deep into that because I hadn't told many people about an event that happened last week. But I have told everyone now, everyone that needs to know knows, and so I'm just going to dive into it. On Monday, last Monday, I had stayed home with Connor. He had the cold, he was sick. We had already, been to the doctor and stuff. Anyway, he slept. He laid on the couch and he slept for 4 hours. And I'm like, God, he's never going to go to bed tonight. But I was like, well, he's really sick. Rest is really good when they're sick. I mean, when you're sick, what do you want to do besides lay there and sleep? Because you feel awful when you're awake. So I'm like, just let him sleep. Around the 2-hour mark, I did debate waking him up. And by 3 hours, I was really thinking about waking him up. But then I was like, just let him sleep. If he can sleep 4 hours, he needs it, So I let him sleep. He ended up waking up. When he woke up, he was acting odd. Now, everybody goes through the grogginess when they wake up. So I was just like, well, he's just groggy. But he was just acting really weird. He was kind of, just kind of staring off into space, kind of. But so anyway, I ended up picking him up, and I'm sitting on the couch, and so I'm holding him kind of like a baby, but my arm was on the rest here, so like I wasn't like, literally supporting a 30-pound child. He was just kind of laying there with my arm on the armrest, and his eyes started darting like crazy. Now, he does have nystagmus, which is where his eyes do jerk, but it's normally real fast, but yet it's not like over like that. It's just kind of like, I can't really do it, but it's just like anyway, I can't explain it. This was definitely not nystagmus. His eyes would roll around, they would jerk around, and I'm like just looking at him like, because I'm dumbfounded. And then finally they roll over like this, and they are fixed on my shirt. They're just like staring at my shirt. No sound, nothing like that. I mean, he's breathing and everything at this point. So I start hollering at him. Nothing. I'm hollering, Connor, 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 hey Connor. Nothing. His eyes are fixed over, rolled over this way, facing my shirt. I'm yelling at him. I'm trying to get him to respond to me. I'm like, Connor, Connor, Connor. Connor, you need to look at me. You need to look at me. And finally, it's like he snapped out of it, and he just looked at me. And he started whining, and he pointed to his spot on the couch. When he's sick, he's always like this. When he's sick, he wants his one spot on the couch. He wants a pillow. He wants a blanket. If he's in the hospital, he wants the hospital bed. I don't know why he's like that. I don't know why he would rather have that than held. But there's something about it. That's what he wants. So I put him back where he wanted. And I got my phone out. And I'm so thankful that I did this. And I know a lot of people have something to say about this. But I didn't really grasp what was going on at the moment. So I got my phone out. And I started recording him. And it was much of the same. They got very jerky. I mean, just jerking. And in my video, when I say his name, one time he comes back to me as soon as I say his name. And then it starts again. And I'm sorry. I knew I was going to yawn. I could feel it. I'm sorry. Then, I'm still videoing. Then, the next time, he's jerking around. His eyes are jerking around. And I have to say his name like twice, I think, before he'll come back. And then I stopped videoing, and I text Jeremy, and I'm like, something's going on. Something's wrong. And I tried to send him the video, but because the video was over 2 minutes long, it was too big to send. Now, Jeremy was about to come home anyway, because this was around 6 o'clock in the evening. He gets off at 6. So he says, I'll be there in a few minutes. Don't panic. Just calm down. I'll be there in a few minutes. So he gets here. I show him the video. Jeremy is my cool, calm, and collected person. And if you're a panicker, you need your person. He's my person. He calmed me down. At this time, Connor was okay. I mean, he was still sick, but he wasn't doing any of this stuff. He calmed me down. He said, you're just tired. You're nervous. You know, it's his first cold. He's not on lung meds. They've already told you, you know, this, and this. You're nervous and you're freaked out. And he kind of thought I was jumping to conclusions. And I'm like, I think he had a seizure. Like, I'm freaked out. But because he was acting okay, I was like, well, okay. So, we ended up going for, I called to make his follow-up appointment. And I'm going to skip out a lot of what went on at the follow-up appointment because I don't want to dog anyone out. I've always prided myself on the fact that I don't get on social media, my blog, YouTube's no different, and talk about people bad or dog people out or all this kind of stuff. If I ever talk about anyone, it's myself. So, I'm not going to stoop to that or change that for anyone. But I will say I felt extremely brushed off, and they would not even watch my entire video. They watched a few seconds and handed me my phone back. And let me backtrack for a second. On the way to have the follow-up, I called his eye doctor because since it was something with the eyes, I was like, well, maybe it is nystagmus because they had us doing breathing treatments every 4 hours on the dot, and breathing treatments make you jittery. So I was like, well, maybe because we're doing them so often, maybe it is something. So I called the eye doctor. I talked to them. I explained to her what happened. I explained to her I had a video. And I told her, if you want to see the video, just let me know where I can send it to the doctor, and I'll send you the video. You can tell me what you think. She said, no, everything you're telling me, there's no way that's nystagmus. That's nothing to do with his eyes, so we can't do anything because they treat his eyes, and I understood that. We can't do anything. That is seizure activity, and you need to get him in at his pediatrician. I'm like, I'm on it. I'm on my way there now. So I hang up with them, and we go to the pediatrician appointment. Meanwhile, prior to this, we'd already been to the pediatrician for the cold, and we'd been to the ER for the colds. So the ER wanted us to follow up with the pediatrician, and we're definitely going to the pediatrician when I think you've had a seizure. So we went to the pediatrician. This is where I'm not going to talk bad about anybody. I'll just say I felt brushed off. I felt unheard. They wouldn't even watch my whole video. And the doctor tried to say it was his nystagmus. And again, I think part of that could have been because he didn't watch the entire video. It got much worse as it went on. Anyway, I was told that we need to treat the cold first. And if I want to, we can revisit the seizure later. So that did not sit well with me. And so they did say that his left lung sounded wheezy. And they wanted me, and that we were not out of the woods yet, their exact words. And that we would need to do the breathing treatment every 4 hours for 2 to 3 days on the dot. Every 4 hours, 2 to 3 days. Then back it up after 2 to 3 days to like 6 to 8 hours. I was given no follow-up appointment. I was told nothing else. That's it. So I left extremely discouraged. I left extremely aggravated. Not even aggravated. I left mad. I left really mad. And I felt like, I'm really going to try not to cry, guys. I felt like I know something's wrong with him. I know something happened to him. And no one will listen to me. You know, I call the eye doctor. They're like, yeah, that sounds like a seizure. Call his pediatrician. That's what they tell you. I go to the ER. They're like, yeah, you need to follow up with his pediatrician. Okay. So I gave it a couple days, and I let myself fume. And I was really mad because I felt like no one would listen to me. And so I called his lung doctor because I decided he shouldn't be on breathing treatments that long, every 4 hours, that many days, without calling and talking to his lung doctor. It makes sense. It's got to do with his lungs. Let's call the lung doctor. So I called the lung doctor. I called on Friday. They close at noon on Friday, which I did not realize that when I called. I called at like 11. So there's no way I was getting in that day because I'm an hour away. I talked to a nurse at the pulmonologist for almost an hour, for at least a good 45 minutes. And first she's writing down everything he's had with this cold, everything that's going on. And then I bring up the video and I tell her about that I think he had a seizure. And I asked her, could doing this much breathing treatments have brought that on? And she said, absolutely not. You need to go see your pediatrician. And that's when I got really honest with her because I was upset. And I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like I'm getting the runaround. And then I realized how that sounded. And I said, I don't mean from you. It's not y'all. And she said, honey, do you need a new pediatrician? And I said, yeah, I think I do. She said, well, what are you waiting for? And I'm like, I don't know what I'm waiting for. I really don't want to talk bad about anybody. But let me give you this little bit of background. When Connor came home, he had an awesome pediatrician. I'm not going to give you any names. When Connor came home, he had an awesome pediatrician. She was great. We loved her. She sent him to all the specialists. She sent him to the heart doctor. Like, we checked everything head to toe on Connor because we didn't know, and we wanted him checked. She was amazing. We loved her. Connor loved her. We loved her office. It was great. When Connor had been home, probably his first winter, besides the initial winter he came home, his first winter, he started getting really sick. And he started being sick a lot. And anytime I would call, he could never get in to be seen that day. I know everything isn't, I need seen this minute urgent. But when you're a first-time mom, I wanted him seen this minute urgent, okay? So I found this other doctor's office that was open late. I'm not going to say the exact hours because you'll know exactly what doctor's office it is because there's not many open this late. So I'm like, that would be perfect because at the time I was working at Tri-County. It was hard for me to miss. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm trying not to say anything bad about anybody. It was really hard for me to miss. So extended hours were perfect because if it wasn't like a sick thing, I could go after work. Okay. So now I'm at a job that's understanding. When you work at your child's school, they don't want him there when he's sick. So, they're more understanding with me. Plus, I'm only part-time. I only work 5 hours a day. So, I would have time to take him to a doctor. Anyway, a lot of things had changed since the time I switched pediatricians for extended hours. But one thing that remains the same is I need somewhere that I can call when he's sick and get seen. And this happens a whole lot. And so where I'm going, I can always get in and be seen. Always. No matter what. I've never called when he's sick and not had an appointment that day. So I'm talking to this nurse at the pulmonologist's office. And she's like, and I spilled it. Like, I laid it all out for her. And she said, and she's absolutely right, you're staying because of extended hours. Which I totally understand. I totally get it. That is so nice to have. But if you don't feel he's getting adequate care, the extended hours do no good. And she's absolutely right. She's 100% correct. And then she told me, I don't care if it was a one-time event. If you want him to see a neurologist, if you want him to get an EEG, you are the parents. And if you want him to have all those tests run because of a one-time event that could happen again, that could never happen again, you deserve to have it done. You are his voice. You are his advocate. And don't you let anyone bully you or make you feel like you just have to go along with their plan and what they think. And I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. She said a lot of things that made sense, and she was absolutely right. So she gave me an appointment for Monday because this was Friday and they were closing early. So on Monday, we went to the pulmonologist. The doctor was phenomenal. He stayed in the room with me for probably at least 45 minutes. Poured out everything, talked about everything. Now, we touched lightly on the seizure. We didn't go in deep on the seizure because he can't do anything about the seizure. He's seen him for lungs only. The only thing he can tell me is no, there's no way that doing those breathing treatments that much caused that. But he did tell me to stop doing the breathing treatments. The breathing treatments are not doing squat for the cough. They're helping the breathing. So he told me, and go back to as needed, and if he gets breathing funny, then do the breathing treatment. Other than that, cut it out, which was great. Was great news because it makes him so jittery and so just his behavior erratic. And we talked about how long he's been sick, what's been going on about the cough, and he actually had on a mask and was sick himself. And he said, everything you're describing is like what I have also. It's a viral cold. It's going around. Medication won't help. And even when they seem to be better, the cough still lasts. The cough lingers a long time. And that was kind of a relief to hear just because he just still had this cough. And so I'm like, okay. And he said, here's what I'm going to do. If you want antibiotics, I'm going to call them in. But I'm going to leave it up to you. Do you want antibiotics or do you want to wait it out a little longer? And I'm just like, I don't know what to do because antibiotics make him really sick, like really sick. And so I really don't want to be on him, but I want him some relief. So we talked on a little bit about my concerns and things. And finally he said, you know what? I'm not even going to put that on you to make a decision today if you want them or not. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call in the antibiotics. You go pick them up. If you want to start them, that's good. You can start them today. If you want to wait a few days and see if he gets better, you can do that. You can do whatever you want to do. But I'm going to call him in because I don't want you to go through this holiday weekend because this week's Thanksgiving. I don't want you to go through this holiday weekend with no medication. Because then what's going to happen is if he gets worse, you're going to wind up in the ER. And then what's probably going to happen is he's going to catch something worse than what he already has. And I was like, where have you been all my life? And why can you not be his primary care doctor? Like, you are awesome. So we have antibiotics. We have not started them. Today was a much better day. Connor went to school. He hasn't coughed all day. I'm hoping we won't have to start them, but we do have them. And in a few days, if he were to get worse or just seem really sick again, we will start him. It'll be 14 days, though. We've never been on antibiotics for that long, and I'm super nervous about that. But we'll take it. We'll figure it out one day at a time. So that is my story. That is what's going on. I am looking for a new pediatrician. I think I have who I'm going to go to. I just have all the paperwork. I printed offline to fill out for a new patient and all that. I just haven't gave them a call yet due to the fact that it's the holiday weekend and I just don't want to go for like a well visit on holiday weekend. It's Thanksgiving. I just don't want to go for a well visit like right before a big holiday when I know they're trying to get off and they need to worry about seeing sick kids, not well kids, right before their holiday time as well. So after the holiday's over, I'm going to make an appointment, and we're going to go, and we're going to do this. And I am going to find someone who will listen to me, and I'm going to find somewhere where I'm happier. And I did not say any of this to dog anybody out. I've learned a valuable lesson. And if I can share and help anybody, I want to do that. Listen to your instincts and do not give up. And do not quit fighting for your child. I practically begged the lung doctor yesterday to do blood work. I begged, and he wouldn't. And I just felt like maybe something else was going on. And I don't know, maybe there still is, maybe there's not. I don't know what's happening. Maybe this seizure was due to just him being sick. I don't know. But either way, I would like to have answers. Because if not, I'm going to watch him like a hawk for the rest of his life. Maybe not for the rest of his life, but for the next few months. I'm just really freaked out, and I'm just really nervous, and I don't want him to be with anybody else. I don't want him to. His teacher knew this was going on to keep an eye out. His Wednesday night teacher at church, I had told this was going on. Hey, if he acts weird, bring him out to me. I'm just nervous, and I just don't want him far from me. And I know that's not healthy. I know we need time apart from each other, and we'll get there eventually. But I'm just nervous right now. I have no answers. I don't know if it's going to happen again because I don't know why it's happening or why it happened. And so that's what's going on with Connor. We have a lot of big decisions to make. Tough, scary decisions. Nerve-wracking decisions. But as far as sick, he does seem better today. I hope we're on the up and up. I hope things continue to get better. He's still extremely whiny, which has me concerned. But I honestly think he hasn't been sleeping at night. And he's just really, really tired during the day and in the morning. I could be wrong about that. I'm not 100% sure. But that's what I think's going on. So I'll keep y'all updated. I'll update you again. Hopefully we're on the up and up. And I will let you know if anything else arises and what else is going on. Thank you guys for being concerned and for asking about him. And just continue to pray for him and for him to continue to get healthier. Thanks, guys.